Hello everyone, greetings of the day. My name is Anirudh and I am an assistant professor in School of Hospitality Management, RIMT University, Mandi Govindgarh, Punjab. Today I am here presenting a very interesting and very important topic for all of the food wines makers, food and wine lovers. Today we will discuss about the manufacturing of table wine. As I have, we all have known that there are the alcoholic beverages available with us. We have classification of alcoholic beverages, like we are having table wine, we are having wines, we are having spirits, we are having beers, we are having cocktails, and we are having liqueurs. So today I will start with our class with manufacturing of table wine, which is a category of wines. So let's start with the different steps of table wine. Steps for wine making. There are the various steps which are included for the manufacturing of table wine. We will start with harvesting, then grading and weighing, then removal of stalk, then crushing, sulfuring, fermentation, cellaring, second pressing, racking, fining and filtering, refrigerating and bottling, and in the last it is aging and refrigeration and blending, and in the last it is aging and bottling. So each and every step is very much important and has their own important role while making the wine. Starting with the harvesting. Harvesting has been done when the natural yeast is available in each and every bunch of the in each and every grape skin. You have seen the vineyard who is taking care of the vineyard, the person who is taking care of the vineyard, he'll see and he'll make it sure that the natural yeast is available on every skin of the grape or on every bunch of the grape plant. That time it is perfectly fine that the grape has nothing to gain from that plant, and at that time it is actually it is ready to get plucked. So fully ripened grapes is and has nothing more from the plants to be taken. So we will choose fully ripened when we have seen that the grape is fully ripened and there is nothing for the grape to take from the plant. We will do the plucking for that. And natural yeast, the availability of the natural yeast on the skin of the plant is also necessary to know that if the natural yeast is not available on the skin, then the grape is not ready to get plucked. So naturally availability of the natural yeast on the skin of the grape plant, on the skin of the grape, is very much important. Mostly we are choosing dry weather conditions, which is preferably the better for the plucking of grapes. Next is grading and weighing. Grading on the basis of the quality of the grapes, we will do the further process, further steps. So to know the quality, we will do the grading of the grapes. As we have known that the bunches of the grapes on a vineyard, they are carrying different sizes of grapes. It is not possible that all the sizes of the grapes are same. So we are grading the grapes on the basis of their sizes. So on the basis of the sizes, we will describe the quality of the grapes. Suppose we are having three categories, that is A, B and C, and the grapes which are larger in size are categorized in A, and the grapes which are medium in size are categorized into B, and the grapes in smaller in size will be categorized into C. And weighing is also very much important, because on the basis of weighing we will come to know that total quantity which will be available with us for the further processes. It is also necessary to know that the particular amount of grape will be available for us for the further process. So through weighing process we will come to know the quantity of the grapes available with us. Then it is important, whenever we are plucking the grapes, we will know that it should be plucked with the little bit amount of stem with this, that is the stalk. Stalk will be always be plucked with the grapes. So ripe grapes are plucked off from the stalk, because stalks containing tannin acid, which will put a negative impact on the making of wine. So it is very much important to remove the stalk. Earlier time we are removing the stalk by our hands, but now we are having mechanical processes, mechanical methods to incorporate destalking the machines. stock containing the bitter taste and due to the tannin available in it. So whenever we are making wine, it is always be recommended to remove stock, because we don't want any type of bitterness in our wine. Next is crushing. In the earlier time, we used to put all the grapes into a big tank, and with our bare feet we used to do crushing as it is shown in the figure. But now we are having different types of machines which are used to do the pressing, and after doing the pressing, we are having the grape juice, which is known as must. At this stage, winemaker can do what winemaker will do. He has the must with him. He can use the hydrometer to know the gravity of the grape juice, that is must. According to the gravity of the grape juice, he will come to know that the strength of the sugar in the grape, and on the behalf of that, he will assume the alcoholic percentage as a result of this. So as we all know that sugar is the main ingredient which will be baked down by the yeast for the making of ethyl alcohol. We will discuss the things later, but content of sugar will be known by the winemaker in this step with the help of hydrometer, because hydrometer knows the gravity of the must, and on the basis of that, he will know the sugar content available in the must, and on the basis of that, he can easily assume the alcoholic strength he will get at the result. If the sugar content he will find, he will think and he will find that the sugar content in the must is lower, then he has an option to add sugar, because each and every country in the world is having some laws, and on the basis of that laws, all the winemakers has to do their work, has to make their wine. Suppose the country in India also, suppose in India the law says that the alcoholic content of wine will be vary from 8% to 14%, and as I had discussed, that sugar is the main ingredient, and through sugar we will get the ethyl alcohol, which is potable, and we want to know that how much alcohol we have through that hydrometer. We will get that also, and the sugar is not up to the mark, and sufficient sugar is not available in the must, and in that case, what the winemaker will do, he has the full authority to add sugar in it. It is in the form of glucose, because in must the sugar is available in the form of glucose. In the red and black grapes are used for making red wine. Okay, the skin of the red and black grapes has to be given the color of red grapes. So while making the rosé wine, we will allow the skin for one night to give the color, to extract the color from that skin by the must. But we don't need to get the contact of skin of red and black wine when we are making the white wine. After crushing, we are having must with us, and we are having each and everything with us, whatever we have need. We also did with the chaptalization, in which we added the sugar, the winemaker added the sugar. Now next step is sulfuring. In this we use sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is hungry for oxygen. Oxygen is having Acetobacter available in it, and it is available in the world, because air contain oxygen or oxygen contain Acetobacter. Acetobacter put a negative impact on wine, and it can convert the wine into vinegar. So to get rid of Acetobacter, we will use sulfur dioxide, which will eat the oxygen. We will mix up the sulfur dioxide into the must, and it can also form a layer on the surface of the must, which doesn't make the which prevent the air to make a contact with the must, and it also mix with the must, which automatically kill the wild yeast as well as the oxygen available in the must. So that's why we are using sulfur dioxide. It also helps in killing the wild yeast, which will somehow impact the chemical reaction and destroy the manufacturing of wine. So sulfuring is also a very important step before doing fermentation. Next step is our fermentation. Saccharomyces is the natural yeast or a wine yeast which we are used, and it is aerobic, which can be easily grown in the absence of air, in the absence of oxygen. So we are mostly using Saccharomyces. Sucromyces convert the sugar into ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol is a potable. There are some more alcoholic family members like methyl, propyl, hexyl, butyl, but all the alcoholic members are not potable. Only ethyl alcohol is potable, and like methyl alcohol is fatal and is used for industrial purpose. Stainless steel vats are used for the making of fermentation. The temperature plays a very important role. For red wine, the temperature will vary from 64 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and for the manufacturing of white wine, it will be vary from 44 to 59 degree Fahrenheit. The total volume of the if we are having we will use 3 to 5% of the total volume of the beverage or of the must which we are using totally. We are using 3 to 5% of yeast in it, which will convert the sugar into ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol, the range of alcohol which will be produced by the yeast will not vary more than 14%, because when it comes more than 14%, the alcohol itself will start eating the yeast. So, till 14 to 50%, it will convert the sugar into alcohol. This is how the formula is working. Like sugar is C6H12O6, and when we add Saccharomyces yeast in it, it will convert the glucose into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. As it is known that the 6 carbon has been broken down into 4 carbon in ethyl and 2 in carbon dioxide gas. The 12 hydrogen has been broken down into 12 of hydrogen in ethyl alcohol. The 6 oxygen has been broken down into 2 in ethyl alcohol and 4 in carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide has been formed in the form of gas, and we will let it go in the when we are making table wine. Next is cellaring. Cellaring is also very much important. It plays a very crucial role. Now we are having wine. We are having running wine with us. Now we will run that wine into the casks. The casks are made up of fresh wood, because wood gives the flavor and stability to the to our wine. So we will use fresh wooden cask for cellaring. We need to do the cask. We need to fill the cask with the wine up to the level we will put all the wine up to the full level of the cask, because we don't let any type of oxygen to comes into contact of cask. We will do sulfuring here. We will put some sulfur dioxide also in it, because we don't want to take any risk. Then we will put these casks into the racks, and through this way we will do the cellaring as it is shown in the pictures. Sometimes the winemakers are using old cask, but what they will do, they will scratch the cask from the inner side, which from when we are scratching the cask, the fresh fruit will be come out from that older cask, and that fresh fruit will also make a contact with the body of wine, and it will also enhance the flavor and the smoothness of the wine. Now again we will go back to the fermentation tank. The residue which is left, the pips and the skins of the grapes which remained there in the fermentation tank, which is known as marc. Now it is totally up to the winemaker what he will do with that. Either he will send this marc, that this fermented product, for the further process of distillation, or either he will do the same process again. He will repeat the process from crushing, then sulfuring, then again he will do the fermentation. It is totally up to the winemaker what he will do. He can use this fermented product for distillation, which will helpful in the production of spirit. Now after that we are having racking. We will let the wine for the rest in the process of cellaring for at least 1 year or 2 years, and after that we will do the racking. In racking, what all the type of dead yeast and dead yeast has been settled down on the bottom of the casks. In racking, it is very crucial task. Like it is shown in the figure, very it is very important, and it is very crucial to pump out the wine from the rack to another rack, and without disturbing the bottom of the cask. So it should be done, because all the dead yeast has been laid down on the bottom of the cask, and it is again totally up to the winemaker. Either they send this this fermented product for distillation, or he will send it again for the further process of doing the fermentation. The color and the texture will get more brilliant if we are pumping it from one cask to another cask. We will see the color and the texture of the wine, it will be improving. Now after that we will do the fining and filtering. Gelatinous substance has been considered mostly and recommended mostly, which will convert the cloudy wine into the clarified wine. Mostly surgeon fish bladder we are using in the older time, but right now we are having a lot of filtering, fining and filtering ingredients with us, agents with us, which will clarify the cloudy wine into the clear wine. Gelatinous or the fining ingredients will be run throughout the wine, and all the protein haze has been stuck with this agents, and when it gets stuck with the agents or ingredient which is used for filtering or fining, we will filter it through that, and then the resultant product will be a clear wine. We will also do the fining by passing it through the filter, and in this way we will do the fining and filtering. After that, refrigeration. Now we are having young wine which is not stable. For refrigeration has been done for at least 6 months to 1 year, which will put a great impact on the wine, because young wine will will have to be stable. So stabilization has been done by doing it in the process of refrigeration, and after that we will do the blending. It is also very much important, and experience is needed while doing this step. While doing the blending, why blending is important? Blending is important because the wine which we produce in this year, if the wine is not in good quality, and the wine which I had produced in the last year is having very good quality. So to improve the quality of the wine which we produced in this year, we need to blend it with the wine which we produced in the last year. It is not necessary that we are using the wine of 1 year only or last year only. It is totally up to the winemaker. Either he is using the wine from different vineyard or from different years. It is totally up to them, but he needs to improve the quality of the wine. True Champagne is the best example in the blending, because most of the true champagnes are almost every true champagne has been made up through the blending process. Now in the last 2 steps we are doing aging. For aging we are using oak wood casks, which will give the soft mellow character to the wine. So aging has been done for more than 2 years, and it will also make the wine more stable, more improving the texture of the wine, and giving the flavor to the wine. The more time the wine will be taken for get mature, the more it will get flavorful, as we have already known. And at the time when we are doing bottling, we always use colorful bottle or dark bottles, as when it comes in the contact of direct light, it will somehow put a negative impact on wine. So to prevent the direct light onto the texture of wine, we need to use these types of colorful bottles. Glass bottles are always recommended, and we have always seen that glass bottles are used for doing the bottling of wine. There are some things we want to know when we are making the wine, that are the terms like vintage. Vintage is the year where the production of wine is totally absolute, and the production of grapes is totally up to the mark, and that year will be the best year for the production of wine. So mostly we are using vintage wine when we are doing blending. So that is enough for today. Thank you very much.